Welcome to One-on-One, the Daily Items weekly digital program featuring Susquehanna Valley newsmakers interviewed by Daily Item reporters. Today's guest is Luzerne County Community College President Thomas Leary, interviewed by Justin Strawser.
The Sunbury Motor Company.
Austin Martin, Kia Elite Sales Consultant, Maranatha Christian School.
Amber Wren, Certified Hyundai and Lincoln Sales Consultant, Selinsgrove Area High School.
Ian Chukowski, Certified Ford Sales Professional, Mount Carmel and Shamokin Area.
Christopher Stengline, Ford Certified Sales Consultant, Selinsgrove Area High School.
Tom Mertz, fourth generation owner, Sunbury Motor Company, Shikellamy High School.
A tradition of trust since 1915.
Welcome to One-on-One. I'm Justin Strawser. Today we have Thomas Leary, the president of Luzerne County Community College. Thanks for joining us today.
I'm happy to be here, Justin. Thank you.
So we are recording this only about an hour or so after we had the ribbon cutting for the incoming Watsontown campus of Luzerne. And we're sitting, obviously, in one of the classrooms here. Right off the bat, tell me how you're feeling that this is the opening of this facility is so close.
Well, first of all, the anticipation of this day was particularly very emotional for me. And the reason is because we're moving into an area that we have endeavored for many, many years. And to be able to secure a center, choose a location that's going to fit what I think what we want to accomplish. So I think that today was really the highlight, if you will, to this point of the culmination of many years of discussions, and I think we're very excited about as we look forward.
Yeah, I think the community is really excited too. I know I saw a lot of people here today. Some people I think took a tour today, and you know there were some open houses last week. There was an open house next week. Tell me about the space. You know, how is this going to be utilized?
It's going to be utilized primarily in areas of an office, obviously, for advising. Mm-hmm. There are going to be classrooms to support the courses that we're offering. For example, we're offering English, sociology, math. We're offering a number of courses this semester. There's a computer lab that's going to support all the technology needs that the students have. Mm-hmm. So the space is going to be utilized purely for instruction. Community colleges are not about, they're not research institutions. We're not endeavoring, our professors are not endeavoring in areas outside the actual learning experience, so they're going to be used exclusively for that.
And I think I saw the computer lab out there. Last week it was kind of empty. This week there's computers and it's a whole lab in there.
Well, I can't tell you how, this is the first day I've been here in probably about a month, and I was actually stunned by the fact that this much was done.
They got a lot done. Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, there were boxes up and down this hallway when I was here. So it's like you said, it's definitely come a long way. You mentioned about classes. Now, the first day of classes, from what I understand, is September 16th.
September 16th. Our main campus classes are starting on September the 3rd, but we're starting this center and our Wilkes-Barre Center on September 16th. They have that delayed start, if you will, to give people the opportunity to learn about us, learn what we're offering, and make a decision on enrollment.
And September 16th is a day of good luck. That's my birthday. So.
Oh, happy birthday in advance! Okay.
So you'll have
maybe I'll
definitely good fortune
and have a cake for you.
That's fine. Now you mentioned some of the classes. How did you settle on those particular classes for this area?
Well, first we looked at what are the classes that we can offer that would apply to just about any program. So these, what we call general education classes, are classes that if you enrolled in business, if you enrolled in social science, if you whatever program you would enroll in, as well as down the road, if you want to pursue a technical career program, those courses would also apply. So we're looking at just opening up our curriculum so that when students come in and they say, I want to be a mechanic, or I want to be an English teacher, mm-hmm. Well, these courses will fit.
Okay. And that's going to start off as night classes, is that correct?
Yes, yes. This is what I envision is that these evening classes will probably be the start for the first semester and probably the next semester, although that has not been necessarily determined. But I think we're going to be expanding to day classes very shortly within the year.
Okay. Okay. So like we talked about, you had the open house last week. There's another one next week. What's the reaction been from the public and potential students?
The reaction for people who have come has been extremely positive. I mean, we have applications coming in. We have financial people calling about financial aid. So we're providing a lot of information. I really believe that today, and I've described this to the people who work with me and some of our colleagues here in the area, this is really day one. You know, this is the day that we're announcing we're here. The center is going to be open for people to come in and visit. That's really important for people who need that visual look. You know, you can talk a lot about it in terms of communication, written communication, online, but this is the day that people will know Luzerne County Community College has arrived. Let's go see what they have to offer.
Any significant news on enrollment yet? Do you know how many students are coming? Have they been able, have they been able to apply yet?
It's been very, very limited in terms of applications because people have actually had to travel. If they wanted to do it on site, they've had to go to Shamokin. And sometimes that's why we're locating here, to provide that accessibility. So I really don't even look at the enrollment right now as something as a barometer.
Okay.
I look upon it as, again, as I said, this is really the start. And over the next several weeks, I feel that if we get a few classes going and we're able to have a few classes, then that just establishes the foundation and builds the momentum for the future to add students down the road.
Okay. This is the former Watsontown Elementary School and the Warrior Run School District. What makes this location the ideal spot to open up your next satellite campus when compared to other ones that you looked at?
I think, frankly, when we first sat down, we didn't really have a spot in mind, but the individuals, the chamber, the educational leaders, and others, business people that we met with, they really showed us this spot as really a central location for a number of counties. And they also pointed out to us that there is some plans, I don't know all the intricacies of this, for a highway to be developed. That's going to be very
Central Susquehanna Valley.
Yeah, it's going to be very centrally located here. So I think that as a long-range plan, I think is something that's going to really help people get here, because our demographics are really about half our students or more. About 70% of our students work. So you need a location that's going to fit that they can get on the road and get here quickly. They have family responsibilities. The average age is 28, as we mentioned. So there's a lot of variables to add up to location. Location is important.
One of the speakers today mentioned about the sort of standards or goals of Luzerne. Can you go over those? I think they were, keep it affordable and some other ones.
It's about, number one, it's about quality. To make sure that we're measuring our programs. And when I mention quality, it's not only about the delivery of instruction in the classroom, but the quality of programs as it relates to the community, so that it fits the community, so that we're not offering something that you have to get in, you have to leave the area and travel 300 miles to Ohio to get a job. So we're going to be dependent upon, and I know this is a long answer to a short question.
Oh, that's fine.
We're going to be depending upon the surveys that we're going to be conducting here with the entities, the school district and others, to make sure that we're offering the programs that fit this area. Secondly, after quality, we talk about accessibility. Accessibility means that we have an open door admissions policy. So when students arrive, there's different backgrounds that students come from academically. So we're going to have to, we are in a position, we've been very successful with this, to offer them the courses to gain the necessary competencies and skills so that they can graduate into credit level programs. And third is affordability. I mean, I think the New York Times did a report a few months ago. They said the number one concern of families, of parents, about higher education is the incursion of student debt. So you have individuals that are embarking on $100,000 or $150,000 obligation, and as a result, they graduate from college. They're locked in for sometimes 20 to 30 years paying off their student debt. Community colleges, Luzerne County Community College, is all about providing an affordable education that's accessible, and the quality and its relationship to the community is inextricably tied.
And a state college may not be for everybody, and the debt that accrues, like you said, is sometimes astronomical and it's crippling at times. So
Dr. Karelja mentioned that 7 out of 10 of the jobs moving forward, based on all the studies, require an associate degree. 7 out of 10. And the other 3 are masters and bachelors. So there's a lot of credentials. And it's not even necessarily about a degree. There are credentials that you can gain that can provide you with the opportunity to get a job, and a good job. So I think the key is responding to what the needs are. That's why I mentioned our connection not only to the school districts with the early college program, but we want to sit down and talk with the Career Technology Center. And we want to talk about how we can facilitate some, and we do this in all of our other locations. Grant advanced credit for what people know. If they're in automotive, they shouldn't have to repeat an automotive 101. But get them the credentials by transferring credit in, and get them the credentials so that they can get a good job. So I think that is all about the diversity of a community college in terms of programming.
Okay. All right, well, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with Thomas Leary.
The Sunbury Motor Company.
Austin Martin, Kia Elite Sales Consultant, Maranatha Christian School.
Amber Wren, Certified Hyundai and Lincoln Sales Consultant, Sealands Bavaria High School.
Ian Chakosky, Certified Ford Sales Professional, Mount Carmel and Shamokin area.
Christopher Stengline, Ford Certified Sales Consultant, Sealands Bavaria High School.
Tom Mertz, 4th generation owner, Sunbury Motor Company, Shikellamy High School.
A tradition of trust since 1915.
We're back with Thomas Leary, the president of Luzerne County Community College. Now, during the whole process of looking for a campus, a new campus, Luzerne looked at many locations. I think it was mentioned before that there were almost 24 places that you toured around the Susquehanna Valley. If my memory serves correctly, Susquehanna Valley Mall and the former Shikellamy Middle School in Sunbury were 2 locations that you almost went to.
Yep.
Talk to me about that process. What was that like, taking those tours and going along with, I believe, the chamber?
It's interesting because every site that you arrive at, you have this in the back of your mind that this might be it. This might be the destination. So you really need, and we've done this in a number of different areas and including right here, you really need to go and look at such amenities as what's the access in and access out? What's the parking situation?
Okay.
What are the room accommodations? For example, as we're sitting in this classroom right now, you can see that this is with the windows, with the space provided.
It's a nice amount
this
of
is
space.
A comfortable environment, and really you need to have a comfortable environment. College students expect today, I think, that they're not going to be walking into an area. First of all, they need to be able to park their car. And they can't be in a situation where they're driving around blocks to find a parking spot. And the location here is centrally located in terms of what we want to be able to accomplish, to connect. And particularly, I have to say this, emphasize this, the Warrior Run School District, the board, the superintendent, they were so receptive to working out the details, to make sure that this could happen. So I really, sometimes it's a very unscientific, necessarily an unscientific variable. But their receptivity to us, when we sat down and we talked about issues, they would say, we can work that out. So they were on board. And I think that was maybe one of the defining factors in our decision to locate right here at the elementary school.
Yeah. Now, I know a lot of people were pulling for Sunbury to be the location.
Yep.
And I think, like we said at one point, the former Shikellamy Middle School was one of those, top 3 locations. Talk a little bit about, why not Sunbury? My first thought that springs to mind is it might be too close to the Shamokin Campus, but maybe that's not it.
Well, it is relatively in close proximity, but I don't know whether necessarily you can. I could adequately define why not here, why not there.
Okay.
I think it's more a question of why we're here, and why we're here is some of what I just described. The people from Sunbury, the people from Shikellamy, they are going to be able to come here. They are going to be, this is going to be an opportunity for them. So we're not looking upon this necessarily in a provincial sense of the location. We're looking upon it more as a regional area to serve. And so I don't know whether I could compare it. I think this is the right ideal location for us and what we want to do.
You mentioned something about parking, and the first thought that springs to mind, with Sunbury is that it might be a little difficult to find parking for that area.
It is, and that's when you put it down on paper and you check the blocks. Well, parking here is you check the block and say we're going to be in a good position right here to provide that.
Okay. Now, as I understand it, Luzerne was originally working with Susquehanna Valley Education Project to bring the community college in the area.
Yeah.
What changed with that organization that you guys sought it in a different way?
Well, I think what changed is the progression of our discussions. The Susquehanna Valley Education, I think they were critical and instrumental in bringing the idea of a community college to this area. I mean, they are to be given credit for getting this off the ground. Mm-hmm. They really started the conversations. They kind of built the momentum. So that was I think a very foundational contribution that they made. The next step is, how do you move on to the point of how can Luzerne County Community College, not an independent community college, but how can we provide, at least for the foreseeable future, the educational fitting our educational plan with the needs of the community. So I think it's more about, and it so often happens in life, it's a progression rather than necessarily saying, oh, well, we're going to move away from this to this. It's just moving in that direction.
Okay. We were talking a little bit before we started recording about how this is the 7th campus for Luzerne, the second one in Northumberland County,
yes.
The first one being in Shamokin.
Yep.
Talk to me about the Shamokin campus and what happened with Coltmont kind of being absorbed into there and how they're doing.
Okay.
Like the whole campus.
Yeah. Well, actually, the Shamokin campus, we've been there since the year 2000, I believe.
Okay. So almost 20 years.
So that's almost a 20-year experience, which we'll probably find a way to celebrate that in the community next year. And at the same time, when we established the Shamokin Center, and I have to give the county commissioners again the credit for what they did, they committed a facility to Luzerne County Community College so we could get off the ground. And the Coltmont, when we came into Shamokin, one of the areas that was defined as a desperate need, which continues to be a need, is nursing. And Coltmont had the facility to provide the nursing training. So we went to Coltmont exclusively for nursing, and we remained in Shamokin for all of our other programs. As time went on, about a year and a half ago, we sat down with our master plan and said, we have to upgrade some of our opportunities and facilities, and Shamokin was designated as #1 in transitioning the nursing program over to Shamokin and providing a comprehensive educational experience there for students who aspire to nursing. They're going to come in, they're going to take their gen ed courses, and they're going to go through our nursing program right at that site. The change, I know from the students, because I visited there, and the students were telling me that the lab facilities now, the kind of state-of-the-art technology that we have in that facility is just going to provide, I think, a great environment for them. So it was more about, I think maybe it wasn't as part of our plan, but it was just a matter of we were going to move away from Coltmont into Shamokin at some point. And about a year and a half ago, we decided this is our best plan to do that.
And that campus there in Shamokin, I think I heard over 400 students. Is that accurate?
Yes, about 400 students.
That's pretty successful then, right?
It's thriving. It really is. And again, it's a combination. If you go to Shamokin, you're going to see the demographics that primarily are about community college. We have an early college program with the school districts. We have the 18-year-olds coming right out of the high school, but we have a lot of adult learners. So it's been very successful, and we just, again, I think the community support in Shamokin has been incredible. And I mentioned the county commissioners because they've been on board to provide this for their citizens.
Okay, I think we touched on it a little bit here during our conversation, but tell me, what are the benefits of a community college, and why does this area need it? Why do you think this area is going to benefit from that?
Great question. It's a great question because, #1, we've been asked this a couple of times when we've moved into areas that necessarily are not Luzerne County Community College. The name doesn't necessarily align with the area. First and foremost, you have different entities in higher education. You have primarily four-year colleges and universities. They are very important in what they provide in terms of what students need. Community colleges are different from the standpoint of what I kind of alluded to earlier. They're different from the standpoint of we are flexible in how we can respond. Our flexibility means we don't have necessarily to go through a system, through the state, to get approval. If we want to start a program tomorrow, all we need to do is go to work on it and figure out how we need to do it.
Okay.
When we go out to industry, and we will be going out to industry here, they might tell us, you know, we've looked at some of your curriculum, but we need someone trained in this particular facet because that's what my industry is all about. I have 40 workers in my industry, and I need 20 of them to get this. We can go back, look at our curriculum, tweak it, add something, and not only can we deliver it, we don't have to deliver it here, we can go right into the industry and deliver it. That's what community colleges do in terms of transitioning the workforce and preparing a new workforce for tomorrow. And the affordability, I mean, if we think about this, students in high school who are looking at college and they want to stay home, they want to leave right now, and that's something I want to touch on in a moment about staying home. Sometimes when you're 18 years of age, staying home for a year or two, getting a foundation and going away, is vastly different between 20 and 18 in terms of your preparations. Leave home and have the responsibility of pursuing your education. Community colleges provide that. So when it's all said and done, 75% of our students receive financial aid. You take that, and I'm going to use a very rough figure, just a ballpark. You take that $10,000 tuition and fees obligation for a full 2-year degree, and you get financial aid, you can cut that in half or by 2/3. You're getting down to a situation where you can go to college for less money than you can buy a car. And that helps many, many people receive their degrees. So when we come in here, there are going to be people 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. Because I hear it back at our main campus, but I hear it everywhere I go in Shamokin and when I visit these centers. If it wasn't for the community college, I would never be a nurse. I would never be an accountant. I would never be an automotive mechanic. There are so many that point to this. Now, here's the difference. You don't hear that very often about necessarily four-year college and universities.
Right.
Because they don't attribute, many people who go to four-year college, they have a plan, which is great. They get a great education, but the opportunity either to start and or finish at a community college makes a difference for many people who would otherwise not have the chance.
All right. Well, I think that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us, and I think this is going to be a great campus for you guys, and I think you'll have a lot of luck. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Justin.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for watching One on One. Be sure to tune in next week for another edition.